So, with the help of this PPT, I would like to introduce you to the technique of dark injection space charged limited current measurement. It is basically a transient technique for determining the mobility, which is a very critical parameter because it not only tells you about the mechanism of carrier transport but also the limitations the material system is providing to such movement of carriers, right? So, uh, conventionally, we used to measure mobility with the help of standard established techniques such as in Hall measurements, but this is not the case for organic materials. Organic materials have quite a low value of mobilities, so it results in very small value of Hall voltages. Due to the very small value of Hall voltages, extracting accurate mobility values become challenging for such insulators or organic materials. Thus, for the case of organic materials, be it small molecule or polymers, we resort to transit time techniques like TOF, that is time of flight, dark injection space charge limited current measurement, or admittance spectroscopy. So the configuration required for experiencing this DI transient, the organic material should be in the configuration of there are basically two electrodes, one on the extreme left of the material and one on the extreme right of the material. And due to some reasons of energy level and alignment, we have chosen gold as the anode and I2 as the cathode, right? So there are certain conditions that needs to be met in order to experience this transient or cusp. The first one is the anode organic contact should be ohmic, and the organic cathode contact should be electron blocking, because we are interested here is in unipolar injection, that is injection of only one kind of carriers, right, and their mobility from there. So basically this technique, the DI technique, is falls under the category of time of flight measurements because, as the name suggests, it doesn't require knowledge of any of the material parameters like the crystal orientation and so forth. So basically, the determination of drift time is reduced to time of flight measurement. So, regarding the setup required to observe this transient, I have made an attempt in which I have reduced the complexity to minimum and clarity to the maximum. So here I am just providing you with the general idea rather than going into the details of the setup, right? So as a first step, we apply a pulse to the sample that results in injecting carriers into the material, right? Second stage is there is a buildup of space charge, right? The charge reservoir increases, right? As it moves towards the end or the counter electrode, the field, the progressing carrier, the field experience is far greater as compared to the average field, right? Why is this the case? Because the D prime is small as compared to D, so E prime is higher as compared to E, right? So third stage is when this is the scenario when we actually observe the cusp over the gigahertz oscilloscope through which we extract T, which gives us the mobility. So as the leading front of the carrier packet reaches counter electrode, we observe the cusp. So The method required for numerically calculating the value of mobility from transit time is as follows. We know that for a space charge-free transit time is given by t, that is the transit time, which is equals to d, that is the film thickness, upon mu into e, that is the mobility into the field, right? This kind of space charge-free transit time we experience in the case of time of flight measurement, the optical time of flight. But as we move to the space charge limited regime, right, the transit time no longer is equal to small t; it becomes capital T. The reason is, as I've already discussed in the previous slide, the field experienced by the leading front is E prime, which is far greater than the average field, and when it reaches the counter electrode, it becomes its maximum value. So it results in shortening the time. This increased field results in shortening the time for further transit of the carriers, right, and resulting in T, capital T, equal to 0.787 times small t. So now we shift over to towards the end of this slideshow, and here I would like to end with elucidating one couple of merits and demerits of DI-SCLC technique, right? As you can see that we apply a pulse. So whether we apply a positive pulse or negative pulse, we can inject carriers of either type, be it holes or electrons, right? And the second merit of this technique is that the appearance of this transient, which is not very easy to observe, right? People have done a lot many oxygen plasma treatment. People have applied P.PSS to their electrodes to make a truly ohmic contact, which is very difficult to obtain, right? So the appearance of this transient also acts as the test for the ohmicity of the metal organic contact. This is one more merit of this technique. Regarding the demerits, you can observe you can extract mobility for a material only if it is in the form of a thick film. For thin films, right, it is less than 700 nanometers, the RC effect drives the DI transient, right? So this becomes its demerit, one of the demerits.